Hi, I'm Melanie from Nova Scotia, Canada, and this is Adventures in Groceryland. First off, let me say Happy Halloween, Happy November the 1st. Today's actually Halloween Day, and this video is going to upload on November the 1st. So we'll get those both right out of the way. And this video is being prepared earlier than what I normally do. So there's actually no lunch and no supper from Thursday. We have a bunch of things going on here today. I am working, but also we have some work being done at the house, some winter renovation prep, and of course, tonight is Halloween. So I just need to get this video processed so that it can upload tomorrow on schedule. We had some really great meals this week, and we are still turning over the idea of the $21 challenge, or what will we do for a challenge. But I had started to buy the groceries with the intent that we were going to start the challenge on November the 1st. And we realized that we have a lot of food. So if we do the challenge for any length of time, I have things like we just bought yogurt, we have some vegetables, some perishable items that really need to go. Plus, we don't have a lot of space in the freezer. So we've decided to do a week purge before we start the challenge. I did already buy a few things before I made this decision, so I am hoping that those will last until starting the challenge in 1 week. Let me know what you think of the video, and I hope you have a spooky Halloween and that November is great to you. Leftover pizza from supper the other night for lunch today. The handsome one put together this extremely fancy charcuterie board for supper tonight. This is the leftover of the actual charcuterie meat pack that I got last week. This is some of the prosciutto, and this is some of the smoky, Schneider's Smoky, that's the poutine flavored. I'm very excited. Looks lovely. There were leftovers. We didn't eat that big charcuterie tray last night. There was lots left over, so we just wrapped it up and put it in the fridge. We'll get out some more crackers, and we are going to eat the remnants of this for lunch today. We're still leftover dill pickle hummus. And this is not made with chickpeas. It's made with garbanzo beans. Handsome one doesn't like it at all. I think it's okay. I probably wouldn't buy it again. Making little sandwiches. Cracker on the bottom. Tonight we are going to make chili for supper. So I've got ground beef. I haven't decided if I'm going to add lentils in it or not, but I've got them set out because it's a high possibility. I've got the chili powder, onion, peppers. We've got mushrooms, and I'm pretty sure I've got another can of mushrooms in the cupboard. Diced tomatoes, and I'm pretty sure that I have some frozen corn niblets in the freezer somewhere that I could add in as well. Oh wait, I almost forgot that I pulled these out of the freezer. These are a half of a can of black beans that I froze the last time I made something where I opened a can of beans. It's too much for us to have like the entire can in for one batch, and I actually think that I have some red kidney beans as well. So I got to look for that stuff. I've got the ground beef, onions, some yellow pepper, green pepper. I didn't have that sitting on the counter, but we do still have some green peppers and also some jalapenos. But I don't want to add jalapenos into this. But there's some green pepper, so we'll get this starting to cook. This is cooked. Now I'm just going to get it out of the steamer, get it into the pot so that I can add all of the other ingredients as well and get everything cooking together. That was quite a large package of meat, so I've got some that I've pulled out. We'll set aside. This can cool, and we can use this later this week in a different recipe. All right, we've got the tomatoes in. I'm trying to add in the black beans one-handed. Let's see if I can get this. Okay, yeah, that's okay. It's working okay. Let's get these stirred in. This is going to be good. We'll add a few red kidney beans. I opened up a can, so we're going to add a few, and I'm going to freeze the rest. Neither the handsome one or I like too many beans in the chili. We've got some lentils cooking back here. This is looking really great. And I got to take a look. I'm pretty sure that we do have some frozen corn. I just added in the lentils. Let this really stir it up. And then I'm going to turn it down to a simmer to let the flavors cook. Chili for supper smells wonderful. And it's also boiling hot. Needs to cool down a bit. Chili for lunch today. And I'm glad to have this because it is chilly outside. I took these ribs out a good hour and a half ago. We're pushing on close to 2 hours. They are still frozen solid. I feel like ribs need to be cooked at a long time on a slow temperature. So I'm thinking that this might end up moving into supper for tomorrow, and we might have to make do with something else for tonight. I shouldn't have put these in the freezer. I knew we were planning on having ribs at one point this week. This was definitely poor planning on our part. It is still frozen solid. So we are going to have these tomorrow night once they thaw for supper. So this is still on the menu. And we are clearing another big space item out of the freezer for tonight. These are our least favorite wings that we have purchased. We are going to cook these tonight. It's a 3-pound box. This is massive and took up quite a large space in the freezer. So now that we're contemplating perhaps heading into a challenge, I'm really focused on clearing some really big ticket items out of the freezer and also rearranging some cupboard stuff just to make space, because if we do a challenge and we start to accumulate a pantry, I've definitely got to have the space to put things. I just flipped everything over. We've got 15 minutes and 35 seconds left on the timer, but we discovered that we would have preferred these really, really extra crispy last time. So after the 15 minutes, we'll take a look at how crispy they are again, and then we'll judge it from there, how much longer we want to cook them. These look pretty much perfect. We wanted them to be extra crispy because we're not a huge fan of the sauce that came on it. We are going to dip with barbecue sauce. These look so good. Very excited. Celery and peanut butter. Chili for lunch today. All right, now that the ribs are fully thawed, we are going to make a sauce, and we had debated these barbecue, oven, slow cooker. My roasting pan is not big enough to hold these in the oven. So we are going to put these in the slow cooker, and we are going to make a package mix, and we are going to actually use this alternate Hawaiian ribs. So to the recipe above, which is the seasoning package, ketchup, water, vinegar, and brown sugar, we also add 2 diced bell peppers and 1 can of pineapple chunks. We don't have any canned pineapple. Well, we probably do have canned pineapple, but I have that whole fresh pineapple, so we are going to use some of that. All right, we'll get everything stirred up here. And we'll get the pineapple cut and the peppers cut as well. That's great. I did cut the ribs. I think I want to add in the pineapple and the pepper before I add the sauce on. So far, we're getting the pineapple prepared. I cut about 1/4 to 1/3 of the pineapple into great big chunks. That's what we are going to use in the recipe. We'll get the sauce in here. It's pretty thick, so it's going to need to be spread out over everything and definitely scooped out of the rest of the container here. There's lots left in there. All right, and we will get this crock pot turned on. This is looking amazing. It smells great. I think we're going to have it tonight with mashed potatoes, and then the leftovers tomorrow night with rice. Or so I'm thinking. To go with the ribs, we're using up some items. We have potatoes, and this is the last of a bag of potatoes, plus the last of the red potatoes that we grew in the garden this year. This is the last of the Brussels sprouts that we picked up, well, I don't know, a month ago, 6 weeks ago at Costco. And this is carrots. So that's going to be exciting to have with that for supper night. And we're just having boiled potatoes. This looks pretty fantastic. Hawaiian ribs with carrots, boiled potatoes, and Brussels sprouts. Yummy. For lunch today, we are going to have smoothies. So I've got yogurt, almond milk, banana, protein powder. I've got frozen raspberries. I think I'll use the rest of the bag today, but I'm also going to dig up, I know I have some greens booster, and I'm going to dig that up to add into this as well. Smoothies for lunch. Leftover ribs, carrots, and potatoes. Last night we had the Brussels sprouts. Those are gone now. Tonight we're having green beans. When I think about what this meal cost us per person, it's actually very reasonable. The ribs were $8 total. I'm going to say the Brussels sprouts were about $1.50. It was a $6 package at Costco, and that was the last quarter of the package, so $1.50. So that brings my total to $9.50. And let's say 50 cents for carrots and beans, $10, and another 50 cents for potatoes. And let's just say the other random ingredients that I needed to use to make the ribs, etc., etc. So let's just say $11, $11.50 even. When you divide that by 2 nights, that's say $5.50 a night. And when you divide that by the 2 meals, we're looking at $2.75 per plate. I think that's extremely reasonable for a meal. You can definitely make those really frugal and cost sensible meals, but when you're buying the ingredients, you sometimes think of the total dollar value. You think, ooh, $8 for these ribs. Okay, that's a little pricey, but when you break it down that we each had 2 meals out of that and so 2 different nights of suppers, 4 meals total, I mean, that's really reasonable. I don't know. Sometimes you have to think of the bigger picture. What are you going to get totally out of the item if it's not just a 1 meal item? I've pulled some strawberries and cherries out of the freezer and also a tub of Cool Whip. We are going to make some kind of sweets tonight, maybe a cherry crumble or something. And this also helps me get rid of some of the items in the freezer. I've added both the cherries and the strawberries into my 8x8 baking dish, and I've added a half a cup of sugar. So if you can believe this, I can't find my recipe card for the crisp. Any crisp. Normally I make rhubarb, strawberry rhubarb, because I have that in the freezer, but this was just a package of straight rhubarb, but looking for the recipe card, it's gone. So I went back through quickly, like scrolling, fast forwarding through, probably 50 different videos, looking for one where I've made this before, because of often I explain the ingredients as I'm making it. Do you think I could find it? No. So if you have ever written down my recipe for crisp when I have been saying it on a video and showing that I was making it, I would really appreciate it if you would tell it back to me in a comment. That would be very helpful to me. I'm using a random recipe that I looked up on the internet. 1 tablespoon of flour, and we will mix this in as well. This is 3/4 of a cup of oatmeal, 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar, 3/4 of a cup of flour. I see now that I should have used a bigger bowl. And once I get this blended together, then I will add the butter. And I think the recipe said 6 tablespoons, which is probably about a half a cup. Now I'm going to bake on 350 for 30 to 40 minutes, and we'll see how this internet recipe turns out. I ended up cooking it for 35, then 40, 45. I did 50 minutes. Turned out great. We've been letting it cool. We're going to serve it soon. Looking very tasty. Yum, yum. Change of plans. So as some days go, I got delayed. I didn't get the video processed early, so there is actually going to be Thursday supper. I didn't take a video of lunch, so sorry. Lunch isn't on here, but supper is. We have a lot of stuff that we are really trying to purge. So this is cabbage left from a flash food box a long time ago. One of the questions that someone has posted potentially for a Q&A is, how do you get your vegetables to last so long? I don't know. I think everything is modified now. These mushrooms, I probably bought these a month ago at Costco. And literally, this is still what they look like. All good. I'm not doing anything special. I do often store my cut vegetables properly, but I'm really not doing anything special. I just feel like perhaps everything has been genetically modified to make it last longer. We do keep things in the fridge, but we are going to use up some of this stuff. So over here, I have some fish burgers. So I ended up buying fish burgers when I was in Gateway, brought them home, and I was doing a bit of a freezer organization because I want to do the challenge. I want to have room to place everything, and I found a bag with 4 fish burgers left over from the last time I bought fish burgers. So we're eating up these ones now. We are going to fry mushrooms and onions up to go on top of those. I know that seems like a little bit of a weird combination, but this is what's happening. I am going to use some of this cabbage, and yes, like this cabbage is at least a month old as well. I do find cabbage does last long. I'm going to make some coleslaw, and we are just going to have these in wraps. We're going to cut the fish into more like fish sticks. Yeah, this is what's happening. Onions and mushrooms cut. They are just turned on the burner. Not only is this starting to look good, it is smelling great. Really fantastic. I've got some cabbage cut up. We'll add some coleslaw, and if I need coleslaw dressing, and if I needed a little bit of mayo, maybe some onion powder, celery, salt, something like that. Pretty simple. Doesn't look that fancy, but it's using up some of our ingredients. These look great. They were 15 minutes, then flip and cook for an additional 10 on 425. Very easy. These are looking good. I made some homemade tartar sauce. We don't have the coleslaw served yet, and I don't know if the handsome one wants to add anything else onto his or not. He wanted the tartar sauce. I'm not sure if I'm going to use tartar sauce or not. We'll see. You see, we really did have some very good meals this week. Thanks so much. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, I would really appreciate it if you would do so. That would help me. Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend.